Thanks for joining us and welcome. It is an interesting time for the automobile industry. Every year at this time of the year, that is what we say. But this year it takes on a special meaning because it's coming on the back of what's been a tough few months. And not just for the auto industry, but for many industries, the economy at large. But finally, so much talk about green shoots and positivity, and that is exactly the kind of topic of conversation I will have now with our special guest today. Joining me for the first time on Car and Bike, I'm very happy, is Ashish Singh Joshi, who is the CEO at Classic Legends, what you know better, of course, as Java. So let me quickly bring him in. And hello, good to see you.
Hi, Siddharth. Good to see you as well.
And thank you, firstly, for joining us today. It's,
No.
as I mentioned, a special time of the year. Every year we say that, but like I was saying, this year it takes on a special meaning, I suppose.
Yes, of course it does. And thank you so much for having me on as a guest here. And yes, of course, the festive season means something special for all of us here in India. And this year is no different, but yes, it does take a special meaning. Coming on the back of having been locked down,
Yes.
the COVID-19 situation. Uh, this is the glimmer of brightness. This is the glimmer of the ray of light, as we say in the season. So happy festivities to everybody who's there.
Absolutely, and to you as well, and to the entire Classic Legends family, as well as your own family. But tell me this, ever since you began operations and Java returned to India, there's been a lot of sort of romance and a lot of intrigue associated with the brand. You now have more than one product in the market, and yet, you are still a niche player. Things have been sort of, you've had a very steady sort of a start. You've not rushed into anything. Do you feel like now you're at a place where A, the brand is well recognized once again, and B, you are finally sort of more consolidated and in a stronger position than you were before?
I would agree to both of those. I would say, see, Classic Legends was India's first motorcycle startup, as I would say, in many years. Over the last 20, 30, 40 years, I don't remember seeing a brand new motorcycle company start off and bring a brand back to life. And that is what the beauty about it was. The brand Java is so well loved and liked, respected across the country, and that is what we are seeing. So coming back in, bringing that brand back, it was a huge responsibility to stay true to the brand tenets, and that's what we've tried to do. Which is why you've seen there's three products now in there: the Java, the Java 42, and the Perak. And what we've tried to do is stay true and make machines which live that Java brand, which also bring out that Java experience.
Hmm.
And I would say yes, we are in a much stronger position than ever before. We have our factory in Pithampur fully geared up. Our suppliers completely on in sync in terms of the ramp up with us, and I wouldn't lie to you saying we had a tough time in the COVID lockdown. See, we were affected much more than others because we were ramping up. We were running very close to zero inventory.
Hmm.
Bikes which were being made were immediately being shipped out, were being supplied to customers. And when COVID hit us, we had nothing to fall back upon in terms of neither stock nor parts inventory. And the other piece was our factories in Pithampur, but our big supplier base is essentially Pune or Navi Mumbai. And both of these places were devastated with COVID. And we didn't have a second factory to fall back upon or another supplier base. So we had to work very hard with them. We had to come back with the suppliers coming back with us, with the ramp up being slow but steady. And we started taking those steps, and we are seeing fantastic response right now.
Right.
In fact, we sold around 2,000 Peraks alone in the festive period last month. So just those 10, 11, 12 days is what made that happen. And we are very, very confident in terms of what the further festive season is looking for us, and also from a supplier point of view, from a production ramp up point of view. So very, very excited.
Okay, so lots that I want to now ask you, obviously, based on what you've said. But just to clarify, when you say 2,000 Peraks, that was then in the month of October?
In the festive period of October. Yeah.
So not even the full month, in a sense, yes.
Yeah.
You've been sort of reticent as a brand from declaring sales numbers. So it's interesting to hear you talking about that right now. I understand that at the start it was more about the fact that it was the start. Is this something that you would now sort of regularly look to share in terms of overall numbers? And what about the other bikes? Is it right now just a focus on production only on the Perak?
No, let me answer the last piece first. I know it's not only a focus on the Perak. I was talking more about the Perak because there's a lot of customers who've been asking, waiting
Yeah.
for the Perak as they've been waiting for the Javas. But the Javas has had a steadier flow. So which is where the Perak is headed right now. So the Perak is also heading for that steady flow of motorcycles coming in every month. And our focus is on all the three motorcycles that we produce. The Java and the 42, of course, are much larger in numbers.
Hmm.
See, the Perak is a very interesting motorcycle. The Perak is and was and is India's first factory custom motorcycle. It's the only bobber that is made in India.
Yeah.
So it's in a category by itself. A motorcycle at that price point, a bobber, it's a long motorcycle. It's a category defining motorcycle. It's created its own category. People who are buying it are riding out on it. They're having so much fun. Uh, we rode these machines as part of our Punjab Da tour,
Hmm.
which was just prior to the lockdown happening. People have had so much fun, and the motorcycle is tuned for the power, the performance piece, the torque. It's got class leading stuff on it in terms of its specifications, in terms of its braking, and that's the fun part about that motorcycle. It's defined its own category.
Hmm.
It came in. This category only had a couple of imported or CBU route motorcycles
Yes.
in there, and everything which was over 10 lakh rupees. So this one is just redefined. You can have bobber style performance on it, and you don't need to break the bank. So that's where the Perak is today.
So tell me this, Ashish, the point about then when you mentioned those 2,000 units, that was just the Perak, right? So what about the Java and the
It's
42?
just so we're not in talking about those numbers again as
No,
yet,
but
and
that
I'm
is
coming
over
to
and above, right? That's what I'm just clarifying. It's
yeah,
over and
yeah,
above.
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's
Okay.
right. Much more over and above that. Yeah.
You mentioned about how, initially people sort of waited and now things are steady with those two models and it's going to get to that point with the Perak as well. There was a lot of talk, right, at the start about how deliveries are taking too long. A lot of customers, across the country were getting sort of frustrated. Uh, where are you on that situation in terms of both handling those customers as well as now having a much sort of steadier, quicker supply to those customers? And when you talked about, how you ramped up after what was obviously a devastating blow from COVID, are you now fully ramped up?
I would say we are on our way
Yeah.
to a full ramp up. See, a ramp up for a startup like ours is adding capacities at our factory, adding capacities at our suppliers, and
Yeah.
so it will be a process. I wouldn't say we're fully ramped up. I would say we're on our way, but we are at a situation where we are able to ensure a certain number of production motorcycles every month, a certain number of production motorcycles hitting dealerships every month, and which is why we're able to supply it, and we're able to tell our customers very confidently that, look, if you booked a motorcycle, it's coming in at a certain point of time, and you should have it very, very soon with you. And uh, as regards the supplier piece again, and I think, see, we started off slow because we had to establish every single supplier, and we've done that.
Hmm.
It's been a two-year journey, but we are there. We're there, and I can say confidently that yes, we can make, produce, and supply good quality motorcycles to our consumers. There's also the changeover to the BS6 that happened just prior to the or as the lockdown hit us, and we've had a fantastic response from our customers on the BS6 models of the Jawa and the 42 that have been released. People are talking at great lengths about these motorcycles. They're having so much fun with them as they can ride, and all we say is please ride safely, please ride with the precautions and follow all guidelines that are being put out.
Yeah. So tell me this then. I mean, when it comes to all of this excitement, we certainly get a lot of that feedback on our site as well. I mean, a lot of people are always this is sort of a buzz around this brand anyway. So are you are you sort of confident about carrying on crunching those delivery times? I mean, is there like an average delivery time you'd like to get to, saying, hey, if a customer books a bike today, they should have it in so much time? Since I know that
There
period
is
has been
ideal
changing,
time. From a customer's point of view, the ideal time is you should
right?
be able to
Right
walk in
now, yeah.
and pick up a motorcycle.
Yeah.
We want to get there. We
Okay.
want to get there, and I would so dearly love that anybody who wants should be able to come in and pick up a Java straight away. We're not there yet. We're just about getting ready for our next phase,
Hmm.
and that is where we should be in there. But hey, the demand has outstripped our supply, and that's where we are. So we're trying our level best, and we will continue to do so that we can fulfill our customers' demand.
No, why I asked that is that that is the reason actually. I mean, the fact that the demand has outstripped the supply, but it's also a demand that's going to continue to grow. So, how are you now sort of hedging for that potential? Where on the one hand you want to bring down delivery times, and on the other hand, the demand potentially as the market keeps opening up, as we hopefully put COVID behind us soon, is only going to get bigger.
So we've already planned for that.
Hmm.
We've made strategic investments in the COVID period. Uh, Another thing I want to point out, Siddharth, is that during the COVID period, we went on a dealership expansion spree.
Yes.
We were at 105 dealers prior, and we went on an expansion spree so that we could get in. Essentially, the target was to double the dealership
Mm.
profile, and that's where we are. We've currently added in 58 more, so to the 105. So we're currently operating with 163 dealerships today, and inaugurations are happening every single day. Before December, we should be at a 205 dealership number, and that will make our motorcycles more accessible to people, get them into geographies where we didn't have representation.
No, and that's encouraging to hear because you're right. There are a lot of places where people write in from saying, "Hey, when are we going to get this?" And doubling the number by December is going to be certainly great for that. I know it only adds more pressure on you in terms of then again, same thing. More people wanting more bikes and therefore deliveries. There has also been a lot of talk. Maybe I'll accept more on the media side of things than on your side of things about taking the brand back to Europe. There's been a lot of buzz around that. Where are you on that? What's your position?
So the company which owns Java, they've picked up a few motorcycles from us,
Hmm.
and they're introducing them into Europe. So we continue to work with them on that piece. We've started off our supplies into Nepal. So that is one market that we've opened up. We will continue to open up a few more markets closer to India, and the European piece is something which the parent, the brand owners in the Czech Republic are going to do for the time being.
Yeah, because I know there was a website that's already been live, which features the Java, the new Java, not just the vintage Javas. And I'm sure that there's going to be some sort of demand. My reason for asking is again going back to the capacity issue. Does that worry you? Like once that floodgate opens, it's a good
No, it
problem
doesn't
to
worry us.
have.
See, manufacturing is something if you can plan for,
Hmm.
you can add capacities, you can do what it takes. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've planned ahead. We've planned ahead. We've taken calls for those investments so that we are ready. We're not caught up in this again.
All right. I have to ask you one last thing, which is a typical sort of journalist question, even though our focus right now was, I know, on the immediate festive season, etc. But um, yeah, cannot not ask you one future-looking question. Again, speaking of buzz, BSA as well as YesD, there's been again a lot of talk about more about when rather than if. electric is again something that's been talked about in the context of ESD. Both from that perspective of reviving a brand like BSA or bringing back a ESD, but also looking future words with an electric sort of a more modern concept rather than a classic concept. Again, what can you tell us about that?
So I think it's early days. I wouldn't want to comment on the future product lineup. But I can tell you for sure that yes, there are a few things which we would be coming about with. But there in due course
This time,
we will
yeah.
come back to you guys and talk about those. But I would just like to come back on that Perak piece again, and I was I'm very very excited for the Perak. I've been a big proponent of the Perak. I ride one myself as well. I've managed to lay hands on a test motorcycle rather than my own, because my own will come in due course. I haven't taken delivery yet,
Yeah.
uh, but that motorcycle just gets you, and that is what we're very very excited. The around 2,000 numbers that we've done recently, I think we are on our way. We are on our way. Brilliant festive season ahead of us. The next few days until Diwali, and then post. I think that COVID piece is I would like to look at that as something that you've passed and are seeing in your rear view mirrors. So that's how I look at COVID at. And God willing, we are all out of it, and very very excited to be able to ride again, to be able to meet people again.
I think that's the part most of us are looking forward to, just to have that freedom of being able to just pick up and go, not just the festive season, but in the coming months as well. And as you said, I hope that all of the negative stuff that's affected the industry is now firmly behind us and it can only get better from here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the wishes. I reciprocate those wholeheartedly, and I think wishing the industry itself a huge bumper Diwali festive season, and let's go for it, guys.
Absolutely. Inshallah, I hope what you've said comes absolutely true. Thank you for your time today again, Ashish. I appreciate it. And
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you
happy
so much
Diwali.
for having me over.
Happy
Thank
Diwali.
you. To you as well.
All right.
To you as
Thanks.
well.
Thanks. That was Ashish Singh Joshi, who is the CEO at Classic Legends. That, of course, is the uh, purveyor of the JAwaFortyTwo, and the Perak range of motorcycles here in India. Hugely popular. There's been a lot of anticipation around these bikes, and you've seen now that it's not just about the festive season, but there's going to be a steady approach to carry on increasing the presence of these motorcycles across India with continued ramp up of the dealer network. So there is a lot to look forward to. Of course, if you get into crystal ball gazing, then the good part is that there is so much more that we can still expect going forward beyond these three models as well. All of that is encouraging news. Bikers will certainly love it. In the meanwhile, all of you as well who are watching, thank you for joining us. Wish you a very happy Diwali. And please remember, when you get out there, wear your masks. Definitely wear your helmets too, front or back. Bye bye. Please take care and stay safe.